You know what? It's funny because I see Trump as the culmination of racist American politics for the last ever. You know what I mean? Like, there's always been an element of racism in American politics. It's the reason how, like, you know how there's, after when Barack Obama was president, there was like this, you got yours now. Yeah. We're equal. Yeah. 1 in 44 is not an equal number, right? And we're still talking about there still hasn't been a woman president. There still hasn't been a brown president. There still hasn't been a non-Christian president. So equality, no. But that tells you the racism that's there when it's like, we gave you your table scraps. Same as y'all should be happy with the shit that we feed you. You know what I'm saying? So GOP, Republican politics since Reagan, since Nixon, probably even more so. You know, once people always don't, like in America, they switch Democrat and Republican. It used to be the Dixiecrats, now it's racist Republicans, right? They've been under the radar what they talk. They use certain selective words, you know, minority when they mean black or brown people. Like, they've been on that shit. Trump is just willing to say it. So like when people say, oh, I like him because he says it like it is, he just saying racist shit out loud. That's really it. So it's not like he's saying out loud, all Americans need health care, or 9/11 was an inside job. I don't know what the fuck. Whatever conspiracy theory that people think, he's not speaking on that shit. He's just saying, I hate Mexicans, I hate black people, I abuse women, out loud.
Instead of saying a section of the population or something, or minorities, or
instead of just being like Pence or Ryan, who just try to use legislation to be racist. Like, he says it and then supports the legislation, like the travel ban that I'm gonna deal with when we'll see how that shit go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm laughing, but it's a real fucking serious issue, right? And
when I went to Palestine, we landed in Israeli occupied territory, so they held me there for like 3-4 hours. You know, trying to tell me that I shouldn't be there. So it's gonna be. As a Muslim. As a Muslim, yeah. Having a Muslim name, they was like trying to figure out every single which way. It was going through my phone like, do you have any numbers to anyone in Gaza? You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty interesting, like how oppressive Israel is. Like, if you think that it's not as bad as the worst shit that you've read, you're still far off. It's literally an open air prison.
But I mean,
America
it's important.
To me is heading in that direction if we're going to be at the point where there's ICE agents the way that we already have a police force. When we were in Palestine, Palestinian brothers was like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with y'all police over there? Like, they're crazy. It's like, what do you mean the police? And it was like, nah, we only gotta worry about the Israeli military. Like, the police don't just be killing us in the street. That's insane. Right. You know what I mean? So like, it's just a different way of having it done. And the segregation that you see now, and I've heard that we in Brixton right now. I heard it's the same over here. Gentrification. Gentrification sets new lines. Now, they might not be walls, but I was watching this documentary about the Watts riots, the original LA riots in the '60s, and they were like, there was this one street that we knew not to cross. If you cross this street, the police are gonna fuck you up. Pretty much every neighborhood in the United States, if you're in a black neighborhood, you're next to a white neighborhood that you know, if you go in that neighborhood at night, you're gonna get pulled over, like, automatically. Or people gonna treat you a little different. And that might not be this big ass wall that's in your face all the time, but that's a wall nonetheless, because there's a wall that doesn't make you feel safe. Like, if I'm like, oh shit, I'm driving home right now in Florida, and I gotta go through this particular area that I know it's not safe. Like, if I gotta piss, nah, I gotta keep going. If I'm hungry, nah, they ain't gonna feed me. They might do something dirty to my food.
It's crazy. It's crazy, but it shows you, right? Just that this is a global problem, right?
It's a global problem that nobody wants to see to really confront. Like right now, you'll get on like someone on, or they trolls all the time on my page talking about, you know, black people are just lazy. That's why this is happening. Or every single time that you post something about a young brother or sister who's been killed by the police, that they got something horrible to say about it, or still trying to use the Confederate flag and say that that shit isn't a symbol of hate. You know, there's people who really think that, and then there's also people who just don't know, but they're more likely, because of the way the world is set up, to listen to what a white dude's saying than a brother. You know what I mean?
So the last question I think we're gonna go with is what do we do to change it, bro?
Start where you stand. If I know that my black sister is oppressed, I gotta ask her what I can do to help, because I don't know what it's like to be a woman. I had this one sister tell me one time, like, yo, when I get to a certain spot, I gotta make sure I got my keys in my hand in case I gotta hit somebody in the face with them shits, because as a woman, you know, people think that your body is just, it's under attack all the time, right? As a man, you don't really think like, you might think like, hey, someone might try to jack me or whatever, but it's not the same thought. Or just something simple, that when Hillary Clinton was running for president, not that I'm a Clinton fan at all, but she was way more qualified if you just talk about her experience in office. Everybody's saying like, I don't know what's gonna happen if a woman's in office. I mean, she might get on her period and then, war. We've been having war. America has never not been at war, and I haven't seen one woman in office. So maybe them guys was on their period the whole time. I don't know. But it's like, if just the way that it's spoken about. Or my brother Majesty said to me, rest in peace, my brother said to me, like, round the way we used to, you know, if someone call you a faggot, that's the worst thing you could be called. And he said to me like, yo, you ready to knock somebody out if they call you a nigga. How you gonna call that to somebody else? Or how you gonna call that woman a bitch? And I was like, damn, son, like, I was humbled. I was like, you're 100% right. Change your language. Language is important, especially as an artist. What you put out there, that shit lives. That shit lives in a young person's mind. That shit is impressionable, right? And then in your actions, how you treat people. What do you spend your time doing? Like, if you know that there's a deficiency, like my grandmother started working with speech because and teaching kids to read. She was a teacher also. She said that when she was younger, black folk couldn't read, so we wasn't getting jobs. So she was like, well, then that means I need to teach people how to read. Real simple. Like, I think a lot of times people think the Revolutionary Act is like some old next level, you know, coming out guns blazing, but most people is not ready for that shit. So we got to start right here. We got to start right here where we at, and that's educating ourselves, building alliances with other people who are oppressed from around the world, like going to Palestine and learning from them, going to Northern Ireland with DJ Snuff and learning that, you know, the Catholic people up there have been oppressed to a point where they got walls dedicated to our oppression. That's some old eye-opening shit, you know? So it's kind of like learning who your allies are in the world, and then finding what's going on in your little pocket and doing something to directly affect it, like Black Panthers, kids, food and breakfast program, right? We did a food and clothing drive in Jersey City for 7 years because we ain't had no money to do anything massive, but we could get people to donate clothes and diapers and food or whatever for people in the hood that needed it. So that's really where you got to start, and then just start training yourself. Take up martial arts, learn whatever it is, because if people ain't gonna give it to you, sometimes you got to take it. You know, and that's just what it is. And you also got to be able to defend yourself when people try to oppress you. Just like, you know, like Malcolm said, you know, be respectful, but if someone lays a hand on you, put them in the fucking dirt. He ain't say it like that. I added the curse to it.
Paraphrasing.
But you know, that shit is important. Like, learn how to actually handle a firearm instead of just rapping about it. Like in the right way. to protect yourself and your family, not to go out there and do something stupid. Don't run or drive around shooting up the block, hitting up innocent people. You know?
Some real talk, bro. So last thing we're gonna say is just what's next for you, man. Let us know let people know, one, where they can hear your shit, and two, what we could look forward to in the future from Hasan Salaam and King Noir.
Well, on the musical aspect of things, I got a new album coming out. It's called The People Could Fly. Another mixtape that I have not. I have the cover for the album, but no name for it yet. That's the crazy shit on the mixtape. And I'm actually doing some work, because people have asked me to do work relating to the things that Jasmine and I talk about with relationships and sex and all that. So I'm gonna have a little King Noir EP, you know. But it's not just gonna be like sex songs the whole time. It's really gonna touch on everything, you know. More shows, more performances, and then, you know, we got Royal Fetish Films. We actually won Best Full-Length Feature Film at 2016 FetCon Awards. So, you know, we're looking to do more, get involved, working more with people of color, because in that industry, people of color make less than everybody else. So we're trying to work with people to actually get even pay for doing the same fucking work. Trying to work more with oppressed communities in all aspects. We do work with survivors of abuse, and just working with people to love themselves and respect themselves and love their partners and respect the world, you know. So anything I'm missing that we got on the way?
A lot of traveling.
Yes. We actually we're doing a big trip. We're hosting Hedonism in Jamaica trip, so if anybody wants to come hang out in paradise with us, you know, come have a good time. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. You could just sit there and enjoy patties and rum punch on the beach all day and enjoy your life. But do so, and if you're there, you know, you can also build with us and have a good time. And that's really it, man. And I love being able to travel and catch up with folk like yourself that I consider family from across the water, you know?
For sure, bro. For sure.
So that's what it is.
My man.
Well, make sure you go to HasanSalaam.com. If you are grown and you an adult, go to JetSettingJasmine.com, Royal Fetish XXX, and at Hasan Salaam, HasanSalaam, on all forms of social media, or at King Noir, KINGNOIRE. And if you like me, then you hip hop, so you better stay right here with IAmHipHop magazine, you know? Peace.